It is called Weku by the Gans, Yale by the Hausa, Pome by the Ewes, and the Akans call it Abusia. These are but a few names that qualify the once cherished traditional family system. A family is identified by a stool or clan name. It broadens from patrilineal among the Gans and matrilineal among the Akan. Formally, relatives and their experience loom large in one's upbringing. The extended family, for instance, is responsible for the initiation from childhood into adulthood. The bond could really be felt at social gatherings like funerals, naming ceremonies, and festivals. But today, society is gradually shifting from the social support system to a rather European way of life. To the European, family is a basic social unit consisting of parents and their children, considered as a group whether dwelling together or not. But to the Ghanaian, everybody that matters to one's welfare and well-being is considered a family. That is why we may call someone an auntie, and when asked how related they are, you get answers like, she's my mother's sister's uncle's wife's friend. The modern industrialized and technological era is competing strongly with the functions of the family. To some people, it is no longer relevant to stay with one's family when they can reach them by just a phone call.
I didn't get used to it. All I know is my nuclear family, my mom, my dad, and my siblings. So I didn't get the opportunity to get to meet them. My parents didn't allow us get so involved with the extended family. So it depends on the kind of family probably I get married to. So aside that, it's just my family, my immediate family. That's my mom, my dad, and my siblings. So my kids will feel free to go there to have uncles and my brother and then aunties and my sister. But extended, I'm not sure.
The mid-1980s witnessed a strong social support system until colonial penetration in Ghana. This has since affected greatly the traditional extended way of living.
When I was young, I remember that when we go home on holidays, and you can go to your auntie's house, they are pounding fufu, you pick a plantain or a piece of yam from the pot and eat, and then join them in whatever they are doing. As we are growing, maybe an auntie or an uncle has done something to your mother or your uncle or something, and your mom is hanging on to that anger. So she calls you inside the room and says, look, these days things are no longer like that, so don't stay there. When you come, don't go to this person's house, don't go to that person's house, don't eat food here, don't eat food there, because they may poison your food and all that. They are killing people, these people are killing people and this and that. So these are some of the things that is causing the distance now in the family.
They say no, niema to sin bebre we busuemu. Sanse first no, ne nuadon e we busuemu bebre. Beso ene wo busueni bi na sa wo ho kire okura na untimi nkonenim. Sanse ene obi ya aka ne de abata ne ho. First utimi tie obi ba. Enti sane maame ne papa ni wakura na utimi ginem ye bibi de ma no. Nanso na wokoye bibi ma obi ba. The obey and watch on my minister crab no better say, Abia, me mammy near way, me bassy. The yen obey and a mark running ya a could draw. A yet the obey. And no be back or shatari. Ushiano, now catch as a mammy, tire shawi. If you never come in, she be. It's answer and yet. The obey and watch the one. She knows she will be a winter can be.
So, where lays the solution?
I was 6 years when my mother died. My aunties took charge of me immediately. And each time I reach home, I go around all of them. And they were always ready with their arms opened to receive me, welcome me, and make me feel at home. So I didn't miss my mother as so much. You know, even in my marriage time, they came over, they supported me, they did everything for me. I really miss it. I miss the love. I miss that. You know, Africa, we have extended families, you know. But because of all these things, it's becoming tighter. We are no longer concerned about each other.
That notwithstanding, the fact that the family is supposed to be the cornerstone of any society cannot be underestimated.
Right now, the extended family system seems to be disappearing fast, and most families are becoming smaller and smaller by the day. This morning, we take an in-depth look at the social support system. And my guest is Samson Obed Apia. He's a lecturer at the Department of Sociology at the University of Ghana, Lagos. Good morning, sir. It's good to see you again.
Yes.
You're becoming a regular here. Right, we're happy to have you. Now, first of all, let's talk about the different kinds of families that we have. We've heard a lot about the nuclear family and then the extended family. So let's start off by talking a bit about the nuclear family, what exactly it entails.
Yeah, so nuclear family, as the report talk about, is a basic family, and some people call it the small family made up of a couple and their children. So normally in sociology, we even say that a couple without children do not constitute a family. A husband and a wife are not a family sociologically.
If there are no children.
Yeah, it is when the children come in. So that is the most basic family you can ever have: a man, the wife, and the children. So, and we can say that this idea of nuclear family was a kind of an European system of colonial idea, where though it was an aspect of the African system, it wasn't much emphasized as we as Africans. So the nuclear family, we can say, is the most basic family you can see.
So are you saying the nuclear family is something we adopted from?
Yeah, in a way, it's something we adopted as Africans or as Ghanaians.
Okay,
yeah.
So the extended family was in play even before the nuclear family.
Yeah, so what it also means is that before the we can say that the nuclear family is the basis. So we start from the nuclear family. That's when you get married, your wife and a baby. Before that is established, you realize that you already were born in the family. So we normally say in social, we say that we have a family of orientation and a family of procreation. Let me distinguish that before we even move it. The family of orientation is where we are born into. So I am born into a family of orientation where I'm brought up as a young person. That is when I grew up and I marry and begin to produce my own children, then I establish my family of procreation.
Okay.
Yeah, so the orientation is there. So I always tell students that everybody belongs to a family of orientation where you are born and brought up. It is only those who are married and start making their own children who belong to a family of procreation. Yeah, so the difference here clearly is that you can see there that yes, the family of orientation which we like Africans have is not only limited to a nuclear family. It includes the extended family, your relatives, etc. Now let's now look at the issue of extended family. Now extended family, sociologically, we have two types. What we call the residential extended family and the non-residential extended family. Now when we say the residential, what do we mean? It means a social arrangement in which you have a nuclear family, myself, my wife, and my children. Then I have relatives staying with me.
Okay.
So I could have my sister's children or my auntie's children who stay with me. That's the residential.
Right.
So you have other relatives who are not part of your immediate nuclear family.
But they live with
you. That's what the residential extended family. Then we move on to what we call the non-residential. Now this is a social arrangement which an individual has extensive reciprocal duties to relatives outside his or an immediate nuclear family. So for example, I have my wife and children stay with me. My sister's children are staying somewhere, but I have duty towards them in terms of food, clothing, shelter.
I see.
That's why it's called non-residential. So the people do not stay with you.
Take some kind of responsibility for them, but they don't reside.
They don't stay with you. And that is a typical example that we have in a lot of Ghanaian societies. So and I realize that, so that's why we say the extended family. People only limit you to the residential, where I have distant relatives, my cousins or my nieces stay with me. But sociologically it goes beyond that. In the second one I call the non-residential, which is very common and very predominant. But people are not staying with me. What we normally see normally is that maybe during vacation or holidays, they come and spend the holiday with you. They are, even I remember when I was young, I used to do that to one of my uncles. During weekends, I go to the place when help in the house chores. Then he gives me my money or something. So that is a non-residential. So in that one, it is not, that's why I say reciprocal. Maybe I have duties to my sister's children in terms of their fees and co. They also have a duty towards me in terms of the house chores that they come to do for me, washing my things and ironing my things for me. So that is the more predominant one that we have in Ghana, where so the people not be that. So normally we confuse when we say extended family. We always think that the people must be staying with you, but ideally or practically it goes beyond that. The people are not staying with you, all right, but you have duty towards them, and they also have some responsibility towards you.
Okay. Now it seems as if the extended family system is kind of disappearing. We're moving fast away from it.
Yeah.
What is the reason for this?
Thank you very much. So it's a very important question, and I think that it is a reflection of our society. So I always tell people that you see the breakdown of the extended traditional family is a reflection of the problems we have in our society. Now let's yes, for example, the issue of respect.
Respect.
Yes. So you see, as one of the ladies said, traditionally, whenever you say extended family or family, the people may not be directly related to you, but traditionally, anybody from the same
neighborhood,
village or their community had responsibility towards every child there. So when we were young, my mother would tell you that if you go outside and you misbehave and the person beats you, don't come and report. But once you report, you ask, what did you do? So the point is that it gets to a time where people are not able to show that level of respect and discipline because there's a breakdown. Now let's come to why that. There are a lot of factors, and the first thing we can talk is colonialism. As your reporter said, before the colonialists came here, the extended family system was very strong. And let me also say that before then, when we just talk about the extended family, most of the time we are not limiting it to the issue of blood relations. That's what we say in sociology. We say kinship. Kinship is a relation derived from blood, marriage, and adoption. So, for example, my wife's brother's children are my kinsmen.
Okay. And
that's very important in African context. So realize, for example, that once I'm married to my wife, his relatives or his cousins and co are becoming part of my responsibility. So the point even is that it goes beyond that in terms of not only blood relations. So we say in sociology that marriage is one of the sources of kinship or family relations. Right. So once you are married to somebody, the person automatically becomes, that's why we say in Africa that marriages are not between individuals, but between two families. And the point is, so colonialism had an impact because when the colonialists came, they focused on the typical nuclear family system. Now in contemporary time, you can say that urbanization, industrialization, and especially the cost of living, and that is one of the things I want us to look at very carefully. And as the report talked about, the fact is that today, because of the fact that we have so many responsibilities as Africans or Ghanaians, there's something we call in sociology the nucleation of the extended family. The extended family is becoming more nuclear. What it means is that smaller. People are compressing genealogical connections. So, for example, in the past, I thought about my sister's children, my uncle's children, etc. So, what we have, because of the cost of living and the technology, etc., or the urbanization,
like each man for himself.
Yes. So now what it means is that okay, I'm not thinking about myself, my wife, and my children. If I can go a little bit, back, it may be my immediate brothers, and even that normal is even difficult. You understand? So the problem now becomes the fact that because we live in a more society where there's so much on our minds. You get up in the morning, your children's school fees, you have to pay water bill, and let's not forget that in the society, the cost of living of the population of Ghana wasn't so much. So people were able to afford some of these things. Yes, so but able now to take care of more people. Of course. So, but because of the cost of living, for example, people are now becoming, more individualistic in the sense that I remember one of my cousins normally tells me that he has finished burying the father and the mother. So those of us whose mother are alive, we should be the ones going for the freedom, because his argument is that if he dies and refuses to bury, that's our own problem. So the point is that people are becoming more nuclear. So the extended family is becoming more smaller because it's about myself, my wife, and my children. If I have a little bit of resources, okay, my sisters should go. But realize that the extended family, that is the cousins, the uncles, the nephews, the aunties, are totally relegated to the background, because the person will tell you that I have not been able to satisfy my own needs before moving on to Then also talk about the issue of economic emancipation. Now people are becoming economically emancipated in a sense that traditionally the extended family supported marriage, for example. So before you get married, that is why even the extended family will even decide who you married, because they are the ones going to contribute the bride or the bride payment. But today People are economically emancipated. I'm working. So as a friend will tell you, if I'm going to decide how much to pay, why do you decide who I should pay, who I should marry? So you realize that the economic emancipation is also a factor. The people have become emancipated in terms of the fact that they are working, they have their own resources. So for them, in terms of that support, they prefer rather to give it to their immediate nuclear family than extending it, and in the way it's affecting the extended family system.
Right. So basically, in a nutshell, is the industrialization, urbanization, and the cost of living that is really the reason for the breakdown of the extended family system. What about the issue of inheritance as well? Where does that come in? Do you think people are moving away because in recent times there are lots of fights over people's properties and so on and so forth within the extended family system?
Thank you. You see, the point also depends on the system of society. You know, we have patrilineal, we have matrilineal. In the patrilineal societies, it is through the male line. So, for example, if I'm from a society, my father is no more. The system is straight. It is the children. The problem normally was with the matrilineal societies, where the child inherits the mother's brother. Now, the problem now is that even that, with the passage of the PNC Law 111, there was some kind of, protection for the woman and the children. But the point is, if people begin to believe that the family system is also a system where people, you as I always tell my students, a woman and the children struggle for the cocoa farm. Once the man is dead, then the officers come and say, we are inheriting. Now, even that one, the traditional society was able to provide mechanisms, because the point is that even the individual, most of the cocoa farm lands were for the family. So even if you go and grow cocoa farm on the land, automatically the land is for them. So there's a way by which the family also have a share, the individual. But the problem is that in today's society, people are not able to go back to that system of the family where we have that social connection. So while the support is not there, so if the support is not there, the person did his own thing. You don't expect the person to sit down and allow you to take over his property or his belongings. Right. It's because of the fact that we have, move away from the system where we supported each other so much. Maybe if nobody
when we talk about support, what kind of support? Can you tell us some of the benefits of the extended family system?
Yeah, very good. So financially, as the report said, when you are going to marry, the whole family comes together to support you. Social support, emotional, and that is why sociologically we say that the rate of suicide is higher in the individualistic societies than our society. Because, for example, your extended family will always want to find out on you
what is happening around you.
What is happening? Oh, the person looks so quiet. But today, because that connection is not there, we realize that with the smallest problem, the person feels isolated and individualistic. So the emotional support was always there. We can talk about a lot of these social funerals when it comes to outdooring, mention them, and even the sense of belongingness. You see, so I even always say that it is not only extended family person, but once we come from the same village, we see ourselves as what? As brothers and sisters, as a family. So you realize that's why in that conversation, when we say family, it's not only about people you have blood relations with. It is even what we call ethnic association. Once we speak the same language, or once we're from the same village, we see ourselves as a family. And the point is that there is that social connection. So when I'm in need of something, so you see, traditionally, realize if you go to most of the places of Okanchi, for example, most of the stores that we inherited their uncles or their family members. So I've always said to them, realize that the impact today is that a lot of people inside who are in need. So the effect is poverty. So today a lot of children have finished school, they can't have a means of continuing education, but there's no family support. And when we were young, at times the whole community can even come together. Oh, this person is a needy but brilliant child. How can we support him? So the immediate impact is that social support
will always be there.
Yeah.
But Mr. Pia, has this extended family system really broken down as much? I know that in times of times when it really matters, in times of need, they come together, they rally around, let's say for funerals like you mentioned, Christmas, weddings, and big important events, social events. The family rallies around, they come together. So is it really as bad as we are making it out?
Yes, I don't think it's as bad as we see. But the point is that when we look at what attained in the past
what
and what we have today. First, let me give an example. I read something about the 1983s when the Ghanaians were deported from Nigeria. You know, the government decided to set up this camp for them in trade fair, an international support kit. Within 2 weeks, all the people left the camp. The reason was because the extended family was able to quickly incorporate them back,
identify them and
yes,
bring them back into their
so yeah,
fold.
so which that's an example. That's 83 of how our extended family system. So the person is there. I remember when the Libya issue happened, I had a friend and he realized that when people came within a week or so, they were able to relocate to their own villages for the extended family to take care. The point, however, is that when it comes to when it comes to social gathering and co, it is still there. But it is when it comes to the media support. For example, when we talk about people, everyday issues, yeah, everybody's thinking about him and himself and the immediate nuclear family. But you see, the other aspect.
But is that such a bad thing? Before you answer that, imagine you haven't seen some of your relatives for such a long time, and then at Christmas time or Easter or even a birthday or something, you all gather, and it's just that feeling of just seeing people that you haven't seen for so long a time, and or isn't it better that way?
You mean the nuclear family?
Yes.
Yeah, you see, the point is that as she rightly said, the point is the nuclear family has its own function. The extended also have its own function. But the point is, if we want to focus on the nuclear family, it means that there are a lot of social support and
that you will miss out.
Let me give an example. You see, for example, traditional society, extended family, the supporter will come to mate selection. So, for example, the whole family will, for example, check the background of the person you want to marry. So it's no wonder today that divorce
rates is
very high in our society today. That I was reading, I was so amazed.
But also on the flip side, would you think that there will be too many mouths in your business? Everybody will have an opinion.
No, but the point
if you look at the extended family, you have an uncle who have an opinion, you have a great grand uncle, you have different people who all have different
No, but you see, when it comes to those things, there's a structure. So for example, you have a problem.
Maybe they not opinion will be the one.
So it's not everybody in the extended family comes in when you have a problem maritally. But the point is, when we allow the extended family system to work, you see, so the investigation, whether there is this in the family before the person married, they show marital stability. You see, so the high cost of marital stability is also because the extended family, we are now opening up the marriage market. I always tell you, somebody goes to do a service in the north, find somebody who wants to marry without that proper check. So the point is, yes, the nuclear family is good, but the extended family, it gives us better, yeah, because you see, whether we like it or not, as Africans, that is an aspect of our culture and tradition, that we believe in that communalistic life, where somebody said, I am because we are. We are who we are because we identify that we give support to each other and give helping shoulders to everybody in times of need.
Okay, do you think that the breakdown of the extended family system could also be due to the fact of that some instrumental people in certain families also pass on or pass away? Like, for instance, I've lost both grandmothers, and because of that, I don't find the need or the reason to visit my hometowns. Both hometowns, my maternal and paternal hometowns, any longer. And because of that, I don't get to see a lot of my family members or relatives as I would have if they were still alive, because then I'd have to go and visit my grandmothers. So do you think it's also could be
traditionally there's a structure of authority within the family where we have the Bushanteni or other people. So even if the two grandparents are there, that is why it is not only your immediate grandparents. There have been other siblings of your grandparents who, if through that socialization aspect, you were
close to bonded them enough.
Yeah, so even if those
you'd
two
have
people,
the reason to,
of course, died. Yeah, for example, I have
so maybe I didn't pursue the extended family system well.
Because for example, though my father died about 10 or 10 years ago, the last time I went to a funeral in my father's hometown, I was supposed to identify one of my aunties. So you see, so the point is, I ended up locating the place. Going to see her. So the fact that he was dead and gone, but didn't mean that I has lost touch of, because I knew her back when my father was alive. So that social connect. It's also because at the a lot of students on campus, some I call them the made in Accra. Many of us don't go to our hometowns. The person he doesn't even know where the station is. And I think that we need to go back to that. That's somebody
it's good you said that one. Finally, how can we get back the extended family system? How do we bring it back?
Yeah, so it depends on. Also, we have to first of all, it should be individual level. Each individual family, like I have a nuclear family now. I need to start, socializing so from the basis where you relate to your brothers and sisters, then we move to the level of the aunties and uncles and cousins. So let's try to
socialize
social gatherings.
Introduce your children more.
Yes, maybe I remember my brother-in-law who, every Easter or Christmas, they in Accra. They gather all the family at one place. So maybe this year we go to this person's house.
Okay.
next year it is on this person. So it is a way of trying to bring the family together at the community level. The community can also invite people that the crowds do for the Easter celebration. So I think that when we do that as a society, see, for example, that is why I always say that it's because of the break. That is why we have a lot of political polarization. Whether you like it or not, whether you belong to one political party or the other family or the belong to the other party. So if we strengthen the extended family system, that kind of seeing the other person as an enemy in that party will come down.
Not be there any
But
longer.
because we don't have that strong extended family system, we see each other as enemies because we don't belong to the same party or the same church or the same social group.
Right. So there's a need to bring back the extended family system in order to be more cohesive in the social support system.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Mr. Samson Obedapia is a lecturer at the Department of Sociology at the University of Ghana, Legon, and he's been here talking to us about the need to socialize more within the extended family system.